Hello, good evening and welcome to the Schlocky Horror Picture Show. I'm your host, Nigel Honeybone, presenting the very best of the very worst that Hollywood and more obscure talents have to offer. Case in point, tonight's film. Prepare to gaze in disbelief as a terrifying mutant creature hell-bent on destruction rises from the darkest of nether regions, while a brilliant geologist and his young female colleague assist the sheriff and a hot-headed father to find his two lost children, unaware that underground atomic testing has mutated a cave bat into a carnivorous terror from beneath the earth. Can the children be saved? Will the professor betray his scientific principles to destroy the mutant hellbeast? Can the rage of a distraught father be enough to overcome the paralyzing grip of a radioactive man-bat? Could you ever imagine yourself asking such questions? I certainly hope so, otherwise the next 90 minutes will be terribly uninformative. This is the fourth film in Christopher Meem's masterful nouveau retro tribute to the classic B-grade movies of the 50s, which began with The Monster from Phantom Lake, continued with It Came From Another World! And persisted wearily with Cave Women on Mars. Just when you thought it couldn't get more terrifying, or earthy, or beneath you, I proudly present for the very first time on Australian television, unless this is a repeat, Terror from Beneath the Earth.
Danny? Danny, where are you? I saw you come in here, Danny. You know you're not supposed to play in here. If Pa finds out, he's gonna be real sore. Daniel Johnson, you come out right now. I mean it. As your big sister and the closest thing you have to Mother, I order you to come out. Please? Danny? Please come out. Fine, but I'm gonna go get Pa, and you're gonna be real sorry, mister.
In other news, the Potawatomi Indian tribe won a symbolic victory in the nation's highest court after a bitter battle over underground atomic testing in the Wasawa Cave system of eastern Wisconsin. Through a rare, unanimous decision, the 9 justices of the Supreme Court officially apologized for the irreparable harm caused by the aforementioned nuclear tests. Unfortunately, the damage to the pristine caves has already been done. Let's return now to...
Get your feet off my desk.
Sorry, sir. Won't happen again, sir.
That's what you said the last time.
I know. I'm sorry again, sir.
Don't worry about it, Hayes. You think you're the first deputy to put his feet up on the big desk before his time? Pshaw. I remember one time old Sheriff Collins himself caught me sleeping at his desk. I think I had even less time on the job than you do right now. You should have seen that old goat. I had never before and never since seen a man's face turn that red. I'm surprised he didn't fire me. Right then and there.
George!
Stan?
George, you gotta help me.
Now calm down, Stan. What seems to be the problem?
George, It's Alice and Danny.
What about them, Stan? What's wrong with Alice and Danny?
I can't find them. They should have been home from school hours ago.
Did you ask around? Maybe they decided to go play at a neighbor's.
Yes, I checked around, but no one's seen them. And even if they had gone and played at one of the neighbors, Alice would have known to be home in time for supper. They didn't show up, George. They didn't show up.
Did you retrace their steps? Their route home from school?
Of course. They take the same way home every day from the schoolhouse. Through Yates's fields and then back through by the old mill. I walked it 3 times, there and back, yelling my head off.
Did you go to the old mill? What about Cooper's barn?
All of them, George, all of them. Even the old secret places we used to go, and nothing.
Okay. I believe you. Look, I'll grab a couple of my men, have a look around, talk to some folks, and see if anyone's heard or seen anything. In the meantime, I need you to stay here.
Now wait a minute there, George. I'm coming with.
Stan, I need you to stay here and fill out a report with Deputy Hayes. You're too close to this, and I don't want you worrying any more than you need to. Got it? My men are professionals who know what they're doing. We'll find your kids.
All right. But as soon as you hear anything, you come get me.
You have my word.
Yes, I have returned, old friend. I returned to once again probe your deepest recesses and learn the lessons only you can teach. Ah, what a beautiful aroma. Wouldn't you agree, Rosemary?
Absolutely, Doctor.
Yes. Smells like history, like opportunity, like
Musty old mushrooms and bat droppings?
Yes, well, that too. And strangely, lilac?
No, that's just me. New perfume.
Oh, I see. Quite lovely. But in all seriousness, I was going to say, like the very evolution of humanity itself, from primordial nothingness to the master of the entire world, the smell of progress. Well then, shall we begin this session where we last left off? I believe we were in Cavern Sigma when our torches began to fade, correct?
If my memory serves.
Splendid. Would you like the honor of leading the expedition, my dear?
If you trust my navigation skills.
Oh, I most certainly do.
Then follow me.
Well, what have we here? I believe you've made a bit of a discovery, my dear. Not quite what I'm used to finding in these caves, but still interesting nonetheless.
It looks like school books.
Quite right, Rosemary, quite right. But to whom do they belong is the more interesting question.
May I?
But of course.
It says they belong to someone named Alice Johnson. But why are they in here?
I haven't the faintest. Perhaps a schoolyard prank. Or some young whippersnapper with a fancy for Miss Johnson hid them here in hopes of luring her into this most private of locations.
Maybe. But look, footprints. And they look fresh.
You're correct. Judging by the amount of guano covering them, I'd say they're quite recent, perhaps 6 to 8 hours old.
There are 2 sets of them. And one is considerably smaller in size. Not only that, but they appear to enter, but they don't exit.
Hello? Is anyone in here? This is a very dangerous place to be if you're not properly trained.
What should we do?
Well, since we're not properly equipped, we cannot mount a proper rescue operation alone. We shall pay a visit to the local police station and report this incident. If these children have been here for 6 hours or more, we shall have to move quickly.
Look, Stan, I'm sorry. My guys in half the town are still out there. I give you my word I will not rest until they're found. You and I go back a long way. You know when I set my mind to a task, I don't give up until it's finished.
I know. I just feel useless sitting here. I need to be out there.
I get that, Stan, I do. You know, if I was in your shoes and it was one of my kids missing, I'd want to be out there too. But you punched my deputy in the face. The questions he was asking are only standard. Nothing he asked was that out of line.
That child you call a deputy was trying to blame my kid's disappearing on me.
Ah, dang it, Stan. No, he wasn't, and you know it. You're just frustrated. And you're scared.
You take that back right now before I bust you in the chops.
Don't pull that tough guy routine on me. You just remember who you're talking to. Assaulting a police officer is a felony charge, Stan. I'll let you sock and Deputy Hayes go because of the situation. But if you want to push it and spend a night in lockup, then take your shot. That's better. Now, before you can get out there to help, we need to complete the report. I'm going to finish asking the questions required by law. And when we're done, you can join the search party. Deal?
Deal.
Good. Where were you before you punched Hayes?
Sheriff Elliott?
Come in, Hayes. What is it, Hayes?
There's some people here I think you should see.
Okay, who?
It's that English scientist and his assistant from the university. They said it was an emergency.
Fine. Send them in.
Yes, sir. You can go right in.
Thank you, lad. Hello, Sheriff. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Dr. Vincent Edwards, and I'm here on a matter of great urgency. You see...
What's that? Where'd you get those?
We found them in the Wasawa Caves.
Whose are they? Let me see.
Stan.
No, it's fine.
Where'd you find this?
In the mouth of the Wasawa Caves.
Stan, wait. What is it? What did you see?
They're Alice's, George. They're Alice's books.
Where'd you say you found these?
In the entranceway of the Wasawa Caves.
Dang it! It was probably Danny. I told him not to go near those caves. He's always trying to go in there. Says he's looking for bugs. Bugs!
Get a hold of yourself, Stan. Now we at least have a good idea where they are. Thank you, Doctor. You have no idea how helpful you've just been.
But that's why we're here. This situation is far worse than you think.
What does that mean?
It means that if these children, your children, are lost somewhere in the Wasawa Cave system, they are in far more danger than you imagine. This situation could be quite grave.
Grave? Grave how?
The Wasawa Caves stretch for hundreds of miles, from as far as Phantom Lake all the way to the Deadlands. They are dark, unstable, confusing, and because of your government's recent experimentation, radioactive.
Radioactive?
Stan!
Radioactive?
Let go of him, Stan.
Yes, radioactive. But there is hope. In small doses, the radiation level is mostly harmless. But by my estimations, they've already been in there for at least 6 to 8 hours. If they are not located within the next 72 hours, I fear the worst.
We gotta find them, George. We gotta find them.
And we will. We'll grab all my men and some of the more able-bodied townsfolk, and we'll go in there and get them out.
No.
What do you mean, no?
As I said, the Wasawa Caves are extremely dangerous. If you send an inexperienced mob in there, pardon my impropriety, but you will lose far more than you will gain.
I don't care. I'm going in there to get them out. I have to save my kids. They're all I have left.
Sheriff, my assistant and I know the Wasawa Cave system better than any two persons alive. If you will allow me to share my expertise, I will gladly lead a small rescue party into the caves to locate the children.
How small?
The 4 people in this room, no more, no less.
Fine. What do we need?
Flashlights. Welcome to the Wasawa Caves, gentlemen. First, we shall split into 2 teams of 2. Sheriff Elliott, you will travel with me to search the west end of the system, while Rosemary and Mr. Johnson will take the eastern end. My watch reads exactly 4:25. Rosemary, what time do you have?
4:25.
Splendid. Remember, we search for no longer than an hour at a time.
What? Why only an hour?
Many chambers in this system can appear quite similar to others, and as such, can cause extreme disorientation even to the most seasoned spelunker. Thus, we limit the time spent searching.
What do we do after an hour?
We return here to reassess and follow any leads we may find.
Copy that. I took the liberty of securing these two-way radios. We'll use them to keep in touch.
Sheriff, with all due respect, I do not know if those will work properly in this environment.
They worked fine for me in Korea, and they'll work fine for us down here. Stan, you know how to use this, right?
Yep.
Good. I expect you to check in every 10 minutes and update us on your progress. No exceptions.
You got it.
Splendid. Rosemary, are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
Happy hunting. And remember, should you come across any, the bats are more frightened of you than you are of they.
Ready to go?
Did he just say bats?
Yes.
I don't like bats.
Don't worry, they're harmless. Dr. Edwards, Sheriff Elliott, come in, please. Over.
Hello, Rosemary. What can I do for you, my dear? Over.
Just checking in. No sign of the kids. Any luck on your end? Over.
Unfortunately not. I found some rather odd guano deposits, but nothing more. Over.
Odd how? Over.
They were unnaturally large for the type of bats that are normally found inhabiting these caverns. Over.
That is interesting. Keep it in the back of your mind as something we'll investigate on our next expedition. Once we've located the children, of course. Over.
Yes, of course. Thank you for checking in. The first hour will be up in roughly 20 minutes. I suggest you start making your way back. Over.
Understood. Over and out. How are you holding up?
Honestly, not good.
I'm sorry. I wish there was more I could do.
You're doing all you can do.
Which doesn't feel like all that much.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it either way. Just feel like jumping out of my skin. I hate to admit it, but... well, you're a woman, and you make me feel comfortable enough to say it. But... I'm scared.
That I understand.
Do you? Do you really? I'm sorry. It's just, my kids are all I have left of my wife. She was so beautiful, and Alice looks just like her.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thanks.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think I know how you feel.
How's that?
Well, I used to have someone, but he never came home.
And you still wear your wedding ring?
Well, we never had kids, so besides his old uniform, some medals, and a folded-up flag, it's all I have left.
Life can be tough sometimes, can't it?
It sure can.
What was that?
Sounded like bats.
I hate bats. They sound awfully close.
I sure do. We should head back.
I think you're right.
Wait.
Wait for what?
Mr. Johnson! Wait!
Something's wrong.
I'm beginning to agree with you, Sheriff. We are now officially 45 minutes late.
Okay then. No more waiting. We go look for them.
Yes, we will do that. But first, let me try to raise them on the radio one more time.
Go ahead. For all the good it'll do.
Rosemary, please respond. Over. Mr. Johnson, please respond. Over. Please respond. I say, are you there? Over.
Give it up, Doc. They're not gonna answer.
Unfortunately, I must agree with you, Sheriff.
Then let's go.
George! George!
Stan! Stan! What happened?
Bats! Attacked by bats! Big ones!
Good heavens! But where is Rosemary?
Stan, where is Rosemary?
There were too many of them.
Stan?
They were everywhere!
Snap out of it, man!
Gentlemen, behave yourselves! There are lives at stake! That's better. Now we must focus on the task at hand. Mr. Johnson, where is Rosemary?
I was trying to tell you before Mr. Long Arm of the Law decided to interrupt me.
You were talking crazy, Stan.
I was trying to explain before you backhanded me, you big girl.
Well, maybe I should have knocked you into next week instead.
Gentlemen, civility, please! This is not helping find either my colleague or your children. Thank you. Now, Mr. Johnson, please explain what happened.
We were attacked by a giant swarm of humongous bats. Had have been thousands of them all just knocking against our heads. I panicked. I ran. And when they finally all cleared away, I wasn't sure where I was and she was gone. I tried to double back, but I couldn't find the way, so I just wandered best I could till I found something that looked familiar and made my way back here.
Do you think you are physically and emotionally capable of taking us back in the general direction of where you last were with Rosemary?
I could sure try. I gotta try.
Then there's no time to waste. Lead the way, Mr. Johnson. To be fair, you did strike him rather hard.
Doesn't mean he had to punch me in the face.
Be that as it may, don't forget, he's having a far worse day than you.
Yeah, well, he's got a mean right hook.
What?
Is this it, Mr. Johnson? Is this the place where you last saw Rosemary?
To be honest, I don't know. Every dang room in these caves looks almost exactly like the last one.
It may seem that way, but is there anything in particular about this chamber that seems familiar in some way? The arrangement of the stalactites or stalagmites, perhaps?
Well, that depends.
On what?
What the heck a stagmite or a stagtite is?
This, my good man, is a stalagmite. The inverse versions hanging from the ceiling are stalactites.
Gotcha. And no, none of them seem familiar.
Most distressing.
I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. If I just could have made it clear to Danny and Alice that this place was off limits, none of this would have ever happened.
Wait a minute.
What is it, Sheriff Elliott?
Look here. This look familiar?
It sure does.
Well?
It's Alice's, all right.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir, I'm sure. I bought this pair for her for school. She and I fought about them because she wanted the more expensive ones, and I caved and bought them. This is my daughter's shoe.
Which means your children are most definitely here.
It sure does. Alice! Alice! Danny! Wherever you are, Daddy's coming! Well, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Lead the way, Doc.
Right.
Daddy's coming.
Alice Johnson?
Who are you?
My name is Rosemary. I'm here with your father.
My father? He's here?
Yes, but I lost track of him before I was kidnapped by that thing.
It grabbed me too. I was looking for Danny and it just came out of nowhere. I think it wants to eat us.
That's not going to happen. Not while I'm here. Now, are you okay?
I think so.
Is your brother okay?
Yes. After the monster got me, I must have blacked out. When I woke up, I was here, and so was Danny. I wanted to escape, but we can't move.
Neither can I.
Are we being rescued? Not yet. I want to go home.
It's okay, Danny. Don't be scared.
Who's that?
That's Rosemary.
Did the monster get her too?
Yes, but she's with Daddy.
Is Daddy here?
He's not here, but he's coming.
I'm so tired.
I know, so am I. You just need to hold on a little bit longer. Your daddy's coming to save us.
This is it. This is where we were attacked by all those bats.
To be fair, the creatures weren't in all likelihood attacking you. Instead, they were probably moving en masse toward the exit to go out into the open air and search for food. You simply got in their way.
Didn't make it any less creepy.
Point well taken. Now, can you tell us what you remember?
Well, I was standing here, and Rosemary was over there. We heard this crazy flapping sound, then whoosh, a whole mess of bats.
Doc, look here.
Have you found something, Sheriff?
Not sure, but the bat trappings here look different.
Different how?
They're all streaked.
Streaked bat droppings. How does that help us?
Actually, that may help us quite a bit. They shouldn't be disturbed at all like that unless something with substantial weight was... But that's not possible.
What's not possible?
If Rosemary had walked out of this chamber, we should be able to clearly see her footprints in the guano. Instead, it looks more like she was...
Dragged.
Dragged? By what? All right, this ain't funny. My children are in here. My only children are in here.
Hey, let's keep our wits about us. Is it possible Rosemary was hurt and dragged herself out of this room?
If the flock of bats was as massive as Mr. Johnson claims, it is certainly possible she was injured. Then again, there are no handprints of any kind to indicate crawling or pulling.
Doc, you said you're an expert on this cave system, right?
That would be a fair assessment, yes.
Are there any animals in these caves that are large enough to drag an adult woman? Bears, maybe.
Unfortunately, Sheriff Elliott, I am only a geologist. I can tell you everything you could ever care to know about the types of rock that make up the cave walls or mineral deposits. But when it comes to anything beyond your basic spider or bat, I am at a loss.
Okay, so give me your best guess.
Not to my knowledge, no. But
what?
As you may know or have heard recently, this system of caverns was once used for underground testing of atomic weapons. Your government exploded several devices during the last decade, but was forced to stop when a local Indian tribe successfully obtained a legal injunction citing these caves as holy ground.
What does that have to do with anything?
Possibly nothing. And yet, possibly everything. The effects of atomic radiation are wildly unpredictable. As a result, there is no way of knowing exactly what lurks within these caves.
So what? Are you saying there might be some mutated thing out there that's strong enough to drag a full-grown woman away?
Possibly yes, but most probably no. Still, let us be on our guard.
Good idea. Let's keep moving.
Yes, let's.
Lead the way, Doc.
As you wish.
I don't like this.
Neither do I.
My old friend George Orwell, who wrote Animal Farm in 1984, was a terribly depressing man to be around. He used to insist that because media lives off advertising, the advertisers control the media. Not so for the Schlocky Horror Picture Show. No power-hungry sponsors have a controlling interest in what I say or the films I screen, unfortunately. If you are a power-hungry sponsor who'd like a controlling interest, please send a cheque made out to cash to me, care of Barnard Star Productions, Post Office Box